this is really hard to try and divvy this down so that then it makes sense to you and makes sense to me, but also hello and welcome back to the Writing Apothecary podcast. And we are diving into basically the backstory of book 3. So if you haven't read Faded Fragments and Fractured Pieces, I'm sorry. This has spoilers, very minimal spoilers, but they are spoilers. So with the Nexus series, with book 1, essentially all of the story is about Lucy. And Lucy is, at the time of book 1, a 19-year-old. With this current book, which is book 3, she is actually now about 25, roughly, give or take. So she's about 25, and she has essentially found her siblings. So the whole premise of the story is finding Destiny and Devon. And so by the end of book 1, she found a sibling. Is it necessarily the sibling that it should have been found? Who knows? This is something that I will leave up to you if you have read it. But essentially, she's found her siblings, and this is the story that kind of goes after it. And the story that is after it is different. So Devon, who is a dreamwalking assassin, he essentially has to do it to keep Lucy safe. And that is the whole premise of Fractured Pieces. He is the one that is there to essentially make sure that Lucy does not become a subject that he has to unalive, which is quite challenging for a brother who is back after being away for some time. So essentially, he got taken and put into this thing called the camp. And the camp trains people to be metaphysical unalivers. So that's kind of like the whole premise of that. And then so we now go into book 3, which is Destiny. Destiny is Lucy's older sister. She is roughly about 20, I want to say 27, 28. Still exploring that actual age gap between her and Lucy and Devon, because like I said in the first video, Faded Fragments was only ever supposed to be 1 book. It was not supposed to be this 6-part series. It was not supposed to have 2 books out. So this is always a little bit tricky because like I have the story, I have not mapped out how old and everything, which is quite weird. But we're getting there. We're getting there. So Destiny is a person. That's all I can kind of do. So like I don't want to spoil too much of book 1, but through the actual essential parts of her being found and in the manner that she has been found, she is not alive. Let's put it that way. There are no vampires in the Nexus series. This is something that I have made sure, but there are multiple other creatures. So realistically, she is not alive. They need to, and by they, Destiny, this book is Destiny and Josh. So Josh is Destiny's partner, husband, person. So realistically, they are trying to find ways to keep her energy fresh, to keep her with us, because she has had some really bad stuff happen. So the triggers for this book will probably be much, much deeper and darker than the other 2. So there are lots of stuff that have happened to Destiny to get her to where she is now. So she is not as strong as she would have been in Faded Fragments in the snippets that we have seen of her. So realistically, they're trying to find a reason to keep her alive, and Josh does not know what he is, because he there's something, like, everybody is magical. I didn't know what he was until I was actually writing the story. So realistically, he is here to be kind of a support to Destiny. But in saying that, there are things along the way. And I know that people do not like a trope. People don't like a cheating trope, which I'm going to say this now. There is no... Look, there is some kind of cheating, but it is cheating that moves the plot along. It is essentially the whole reason of what happens to Josh as a result. So when I was writing him, he is both fantastic, very kind, very caring, and really down to earth. And I really thought when I initially had him pop up in Faded Fragments that he might be there and he might be the long game guy for Destiny, but I didn't realize how long game he was until I actually came to this. So a lot of the plot is that Josh comes from this family situation where they believe in something. They believe in... This is really hard to try and divvy this down so that then it makes sense to you, and but also doesn't give away too much of the plot. So you need to bear with me here. But he believes in a being, and said being is very all-knowing, but also is not really there. So like, he has multiple brothers, and I say brothers very lightly because they are not bound by blood, but there is a connection between them. So realistically, this cheating incident happens, it reawakens this part of his memory that he actually doesn't have, which I feel like also helps me, because trying to explain what he's done, how he's here, is something that is really difficult to do without giving away the spoilers. And like, I didn't know the spoilers until I wrote the book. So with book 3 right now, it is very Josh heavy. So I know all of Josh's story. And as I'm kind of letting this marinate, and normally I would dive straight into a book. I would do it, be done. But this one here, I'm a little more hesitant because I don't know anything about Destiny. And yes, I have had Destiny as a character who has lived in my head rent-free for a very long time. So she's about due to actually make some money for me. But she was always a difficult person. I have never had a sister. I have only had a brother, so I know the kind of relationship that I've had with a brother. And I guess Destiny's relationship with Lucy has been quite fractured because she was always meant to be an only child in her eyes, and she then, discovered that her mother was pregnant with twins, and Lucy and Devon were born. So she's always had this kind of, she's more been drawn towards Devon as a brother, always had a really great relationship with him, and has always had this strained relation with Lucy until, I guess, the end of Faded, start of Fractured. So kind of like in that time between it, so there's 2.5 years from Faded to Fractured, and there's another 2.5 from Fractured to book 3 of the Nexus series. And in that time, she's had a lot more time to kind of think and have that ability and that connection with Lucy that makes her stronger. So from that, we are exploring Destiny's kind of background, and I have had a lot of stuff come up. I am a pantser through and through, and drafts that are not first drafts are actually really difficult because trying to bring A and B and C all the way together is quite challenging. So I am going to work through this the best way that I can, and hoping that you will come along with me. But book 3, we have Destiny Rider. Josh, at the moment, his last name is Darkly, which is kind of a little bit odd because I have a friend that I grew up with who is a tattoo artist whose name is Josh Darkly. That was not intentional. At least I don't think. It kind of fits with what his thing is. but it also may need to be changed because I don't like to have a lot of rural people in the books, especially with like first names, last names. I did a lot of cathartic unaliving in book 1 with lots of names of people. But yeah, trying not to do like direct copies of people because I don't want people to then be like, oh, you put me in a book. Like, if I'm going to do that, I would do it quite discreetly and find a way to make it work other ways. But yeah, not going to just blatantly put somebody in there just for the sake of it. So we will work on that. But I am hoping that we can get some words down. I currently have, if I can just check. Bear with me, because I'm just going to open up Scrivener. We have... I'm just going to... We have 2009 words currently in the manuscript. So I love to use Scrivener. Scrivener is my place of choice for writing stories. I then do edits in Word, and a lot of my then stuff goes through Vellum when I do all of the typesetting and whatnot. So we're using Scrivener purely because I like to organize my folders in like, it has like Josh Destiny, and I like to then put my details into it. So we will kind of go through the setup once I can actually clear this desk so that you can kind of see what I'm working with. But we will definitely try and do that. So my aim is to do quite minimal words because I am trying to edit this, trying to be a human being and survive. So I think what we're going to do is maybe just aim for 5 minutes a day. And that's one of the principles that I like to use as well as my coaching is just let's start 5 minutes a day. That's essentially a song and a half, and just write down and see what happens. If I get 400 words, I get 400 words. So it's kind of the mindset that I have of this, and I'm hoping that you will come along with me. The plan is to also, if you guys really want to, I will actually do like lives and whatnot where we can sit down and write for a couple of hours. We can schedule that because I tend to work quite well and do stuff like that too. So I will definitely look into doing that. But if you would love to do that, let me know in the comments or let me know on socials. If you are not following me, I am on Instagram, TikTok, Threads as at Mandi Kont, so MandiKont. I am also on Facebook as Dreaming Fully Awake, but I'm not really there. Like a lot of it is just auto posted from Instagram. But if you really want to get up-to-date updates on what is happening, join my newsletter list. I have a few that you can do. I have one that is purely for the next series where you will get updates on signings as well as I guess things to do with the book, where I'm at. There is one for the podcast where it will allow you to have early access to episodes. And then there is one for my writing mindset coaching where I do that one less frequently, but it is tips, tricks, and hacks to kind of get you going through there. Otherwise, you can also listen to this via audio through all of your lovely podcast platforms. So whether it's Spotify, Apple, who knows where. But yeah, so let me know where you want to follow me, how to follow me, or if you do want those live write-ins, because I will essentially do them. I will happily do them and they will be here. So until next time, keep on writing and I hope to see you soon. Bye guys.